Hello everyone and welcome back to EastEnders Weekly, the officially unofficial BBC EastEnders podcast where we talk about everything involving EastEnders.
We certainly do, and I hope you've moistened your lips, Ben, ready for a long chat because lots happened this week. Another roller coaster ride down in Walford.
Well, the last 30 seconds of Friday's episode got me a bit hot and bothered.
Well, we'll get to that very soon.
I don't know what's going to happen next week then.
We do not. I am Alex, by the way.
You are, yes. And I am Ben, the host. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
How's your week been? It's been fun?
Oh, yeah. It's not been a bad week. It's been another roller coaster. Where I work, I'm outside a lot, and the weather was hot and then cold, then wet, then dry. I had waterproofs and all kinds of stuff on me.
That's Britain for you.
Yes, British weather. It's very unpredictable. It's a very British chat we're having. We're talking about the weather.
It's been very busy this week, haven't we? So lots of things going on. But we still got our dose of the square.
We did.
So the episodes we'll be discussing will be the 22nd to the 26th of April. Did you like this week? How was it on the scale?
Wow. Yeah, I did actually. It was much better than last week. I think a lot of our reservations about Ben have been answered. I think that after our big debate last week, it was quite the debate, wasn't it? the big debate. And it got a lot of reaction too. So at the end of the show, I'll read out a few of the tweets from what people have said.
None of my tweets are coming up. I'm not getting any of the notifications, so I'm not being very good at replying to people. Well, so I am sorry.
I've been filling up that gap for you. But yeah, lots of people have talked to us about Ben, also about the programme. We've had a question or two questions sent to us this week as well. So all at the end of the show. So keep listening, guys, and you can listen to all that at the end of the show.
So speaking of Mitchell, speaking of Ben, we're starting off with them this week. Mm-hmm. And we had the big kidnap.
It was the kidnapping of Louise Mitchell.
All those containers, but they found her twice.
Yeah, they did, I suppose. Yeah, because Keanu found her. And then Phil and Ben found her.
Although they kind of got themselves out, like Scooby-Doo.
It really was. When Keanu prized open the door and they fell out, I thought that the containers had been lifted up by that point.
And I said to you, no, that's Hollyoaks.
I know.
If it was Hollyoaks, that would have happened.
I gasped.
They would have fell to their death, but they didn't.
Yeah, well...
No casualties from this kidnapping either.
I mean, a few head injuries. I would have gone to A&E about those.
Alfie was fine on Christmas Eve.
Was he? He did some ridiculous things after that day.
That's true. He forgot everything that happened.
So did the writers and producers, apparently.
Yes. We had the big kidnapping, and Phil automatically knew.
Yeah. Instinct.
Yeah. It's at the docks. Yeah. That's where all the things are happening.
That's where business goes down, at the docks. So if they're going to kidnap my daughter, it's going to be at the docks.
And there's a lot of things going on in the Mitchell household because there's a lot of Ben's worried because Phil kind of knows something but doesn't know, and Keanu knows things, but he thinks maybe someone else is doing it, but he only takes instructions from his boss, Phil.
Yes.
And then we've got Lola sitting in the background knowing that Ben is up to something, but not really knowing what he's up to. So there's all these multiple storylines and looks and things going around this Mitchell house. Lots of looks being
thrown, especially by Sharon. Sharon is throwing some looks this week as well.
No, luckily she's got her mascara on.
Yes. So
she can really do it.
Exaggerate her looks.
And we've also obviously got the sort of the storyline with Louise and Keanu.
Yes.
Now, apparently they're in love now after their ordeal.
They have shared an experience now. I mean, she calmed Keanu down after he kind of hyperventilated. He doesn't like tight spaces.
Yeah, that's new.
Bit like Fat Boy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fat Boy had a problem with being in a tight space.
Well, not happened to him.
He died in a tight space, so good luck to you, Keanu.
Yeah.
And Louise calmed him down. Little reference to her mum. She said, used to have to do this for my mum. So yeah, a nice throwback.
I missed that reference to Lisa.
Yeah, there was a reference to Lisa. He said, "Don't worry, Keanu, I know exactly what to do. I used to do this for my mum."
I mean, we're not the biggest fans of Louise. She's a bit annoying, but she was quite grown up during that bit, wasn't she?
She was much better, and I really enjoyed it. She's
quite calm and cool-headed.
Yeah, I actually quite like Louise. But then, as soon as the kidnapping scenario had ended, it then went back to old Louise when she came out and wearing that dress, and Keanu said, "Oh, you look hot." She went, "I know." And then turned around and walked off. Don't wait up.
I did a poll actually after that.
Oh, right.
Asking who does Louise love more, Keanu or herself? 90% of the votes went to, guess what?
Herself.
Yeah, that's correct.
That doesn't surprise me. I think it's a general view by everyone.
And if you ask me, Louise probably voted for herself as well.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. In fact, I would imagine Louise has multiple accounts and voted for herself on those multiple accounts.
We also had that weird thing when they were trying to look for Louise and Keanu when they were locked up. That Ben knocked out Phil.
Yeah, that
was a
was
bit extreme.
strange because there didn't seem to be much of a reason behind it, other than obviously Ben always wanted to be one step ahead throughout this week. So he wanted to be one step ahead of finding Louise, and then when Danny got in touch with Phil, he didn't really want Phil to see Danny. He wanted to be there first and meet Danny first. We know the reason why, because Ben had set up this partnership that fell through.
I guess he was worried that maybe Midge, is that his name? Midge,
yeah. It sounds like a children's program from the 70s, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here comes Midge. What's Midge done? Smacked Phil round the face. Midge
maybe,
did get a few kicks up the bum, didn't he?
No, that made me really laugh.
Phil kept kicking him up the bum. That was fantastic.
Maybe Ben was worried that if Phil saw Midge first, that he might say something about Ben being in on it. But like hitting him round the back of the head with a brick, quite extreme.
It was very extreme.
We all remember Saskia with Steve and whatever his name was. That guy. What was his name, the young guy?
Oh.
Bobby's friend. I'm going to call him that.
Yeah, he was the DJ, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was just a little ashtray, which was all cork, and that killed her.
It was a glass ashtray, wasn't it? But it's where you do the blow.
And he is Phil Mitchell, so he has armour.
He's thick-skinned as old Phil. And also Ben probably knows exactly where to whack someone just so you knock them unconscious but don't kill them. I suppose.
I don't know. Well, from his experience with Heather.
No, yes, that's right. Yeah, again, yeah, so he's had previous with whacking someone around the head.
It did feel a bit extreme, that, to poor Phil.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was in any danger of it. But Ben was panicked, wasn't he? And Ben there was a realization when he was in the car when they turned up at the container yard that what he had done is
just messed up a bit.
Yeah, he's gone a bit over his own head here. He's gone a bit.
That's what I took away from this week with Ben is that he's come back and he's this new Ben, but really he still hasn't got a clue, has he?
No, that's right, and that's why I said at the beginning that we've answered the questions about Ben from last week when we said, we don't like this new Ben, the way he threatens people, and because he did, as you said, he's become the Ben that we kind of remembered this week. He became the realization of what he had done and the problems he has caused. Yeah,
because his plan, it's been less than 3 weeks, and it's pretty much disintegrated into chaos.
Well, less than 3 weeks. It was last week he was setting it up, and this week it was the fallout. So yeah, it didn't last at all long. And the question is with Ben is because they arranged a meeting later on with Danny, and secrets are all out. Danny's there spilling the beans about what Ben's been up to behind Phil's back and all sorts. Well, he's probably relishing it, isn't he? He's probably sees that the Mitchell family, this big empire, is falling apart within their own ranks. He says to him that there's a viper in your nest.
Yes.
And which reminded me a little bit of Game of Thrones. I thought, that's a
it was a bit, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And so there was this one-upmanship by Danny. But Phil, to be fair to him, Danny said, well, shall we continue our partnership now? And Phil said, no. We're drawing a line for it.
You got my Lou.
That's right, you got my Lou. That's the only mistake you ever make with me. And so Phil could have easily carried on with Danny and decided not to. So Phil still has that power, but only by the thread. And he's slowly letting it slip away. And so he's let Ben away, hasn't he? He's kind of cut him loose. You're not part of the Mitchell family
again.
Yeah, not part of the family anymore.
He's going to have to go back to Kath. Kath will hug him.
Kath was the only one who's seen. Kath was yelling at Sharon. I don't care about your precious Louise or your son.
I know.
All I care about is my son Ben, and that bottle of wine in the kitchen that's not been drunk.
I know. She did have a bit too much. One bottle too many, I think.
Kathy was she was wrecked at that table. She was like shouting at everyone, demanding people serve her food.
She never used to be a drinker, though, did she?
No, she really didn't.
So I don't know what has happened to her.
It's a hard life.
It's all those businesses she's taken care of these past few months that Ian's left her.
I mean, but then bank holiday surely is the busiest time for a restaurant owner. And she owns, a restaurant and a half. I say the cafe is a half.
She's got her team behind, don't she?
Has she? Tina's always taking time away to go on holiday.
That's true. We also had the continuation of the Keanu and Louise, because she had, 12 candles set up in her bedroom?
Yeah, a bit of a fire risk, Louise. Calm down there.
Yeah, especially from her previous.
Exactly.
Where she can fall backwards but get burnt on her front.
And yeah, she's had a few hits to the head. So she could have been
hit all
she might have had.
She's had so much happen to her, Louise. It's amazing she's alive.
Well, she's
on her last one.
She's a Bill/Mitchell.
Yeah, that's double.
Yeah.
Oh, also quickly, it was really odd how after the whole massive kidnapping thing, they went home and Phil was like, right, should we have dinner now then?
I I know, he just wanted a normal
So,
evening.
and that was the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, Keanu knocked on Louise's door that night and wanted to stay.
In the container, she said, "I know you don't love me, but I do love you, and this is the way I feel." And as I
he
said,
almost told her, didn't he?
he did. He almost said that, your dad's paid me to look after you. Your dad's paid me to show you affection. But now it's real. Keanu does like or love Louise. And he stayed over, and Sharon noticed the jacket on the chair.
I thought she was going to smell it at one point. Like, this is Keanu's aftershave. But
I remember
didn't.
that.
But no, he doesn't seem to have any feeling for Sharon when she...
Really cold towards Sharon. Well, she did send him away to get beaten up by a gang of lads.
That's true.
In Spain.
I mean, Sharon looks like she's going to be left with nothing. She's got no Keanu and no Phil soon.
Well,
possibly.
Keanu says, you need to clean up your own business. You need to look after your own relationship. And I think this was when it hit Sharon, the fact that really her relationship with Phil is nothing. There's nothing really there anymore. And then Phil double hits out of the park by saying, "Oh, and by the way, I've remortgaged the house and your whole future with Denny and the money you've kept to one side, the trust fund. And the club is in danger." Sharon's like, "Well, you're not going to see me for dust if you don't sort this out."
That's right, because Lola, under pressure of a drunk Kathy and a Sharon, she spilled the beans on Ben's money laundering and things like that, didn't she?
No, Billy was the one who
Billy?
revealed it. Yeah, Lola ran off to the pub to tell Jay that there was a family affair happening.
Oh yeah, because she had to interrupt Ruby.
Yeah.
I hate Lola.
I hate Ruby. We're talking about them next. Look forward to that, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, that's all out in the open now. So really, Ben's big comeback plan. It's not like a long. I don't know where it's going to go next then, because he's out of the Mitchell house. Lola's blurted out, or Billy's blurted out, that Lola and Ben were there as a plan. So there's nothing really.
Well, yeah, because Kathy brought Ben over to sort Phil out, and now Kathy's even seen that's not really helped, because they were coming up with this money laundering plan, so it's all kind of just fallen out of place. So now Phil needs to find another way of making money.
And the last time we saw Ben he's angry and he's going out to get drunk.
Yeah,
didn't see him again.
Do you reckon he's still got that it's not Grindr, but Grindr app on his phone?
Oh yeah, the fake social media.
Where he thought he got that STI when he was still seeing Abby.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's what he did go out for.
A bit of sex.
Yeah.
Sex and booze.
To get his Mitchell anger out.
Yeah. We have to listen out to if there's ever a reference to his the app.
I'm sure there will be. There will be. I love it when they use their fake apps. But so yeah, it kind of leaves us wondering what's coming next for the big Mitchell storyline.
Yeah, because there was no story on Friday, so there was no completion. So it's left up in the air for what's coming up next. But I liked that actually. Last week it was a bit like, oh dear, what's happening? We spent 15 minutes talking about what's really happening with Ben, and this week we're actually more invested in the story. So we're obviously beginning to accept this Ben a lot more.
Getting there.
Yeah.
Slowly, step by step.
And I quite like that there was a big Mitchell presence this week, unlike last week when it felt forced and crowbarred in. This week it felt a bit more natural in their environment of kidnap and smacking each other around the head.
That's where they feel settled, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
Yeah. So next up we've got the sort of short storyline. Guess what? Habib and Nick are still there.
Are they?
They still exist.
Oh my goodness! I forgot who they even look. What they even look like.
They had a mini storyline this week, as usual. Adam's getting a bit more involved now, finally, after a year on the show. He's getting there. He's still sitting on paint and crayons.
Well, no, he's getting hugged by Janet all the time. Janet loves him.
I know.
Janet just can't get enough of him.
He hasn't been mean to Janet yet, though, has he? To be fair to Adam.
No, he hasn't.
No.
He doesn't blame Janet for her
He just gets
misgivings.
annoyed.
She's finger painting, so she's got paint on her hands, and then starts drawing on his clothing. All he wants though is a space to meditate. All he wants to do.
That might be why he's so uptight at the moment. He's not being able to do it.
He's not getting his zen.
I do feel sorry for him because he keeps seeing, first when Lola tips the food on his shirt and he got angry the first time, it's a bit like, oh, come on, Adam.
Well, it was come on, Adam, but at the same time, it was so blatantly
obvious.
that she did it on purpose.
She smiled at him and poured it on his shirt.
Yeah.
But he's now had his shirt with the paint on it, and then also his coat, and then he's walking down the street and Billy throws water on it.
Yeah,
so to be
dirty
fair
water.
to Adam, I would be annoyed by now.
Well, I would be annoyed by Billy, especially. Because
and Adam seems to be getting calmer, not angrier.
That's
so
true.
He's doing well.
That is true. But then he did let out a little dark side this week when he said to Jack that, he wants to get away. Australia's not even far enough to get away from Billy.
Yeah, so where does he rent a flat?
Yeah.
In Wolford.
In Wolford, yeah, exactly. But it's it's convenient for his practice and for where Honey works around the corner.
We've never seen him before. Where is his practice? Is his practice meant to be local, is it?
Well, I'm guessing he's going to open up another practice. I'm hoping Adam's going to be a proper mainstay, because I'd like to see his slow deterioration. I'd like to see that actually happening and played out, rather than just Billy sees something, Billy tells Honey, Honey confronts Adam, Adam says he did it, and then Adam goes. That would just be really boring. I really want to see this dark side envelop Honey, because he slowly keeps pushing Honey. He says, like, we need to do this, we need to do that, and proposing his ideas onto Honey.
Yeah, well, she's still not keen, because he sort of slightly mentioned maybe moving in, and then all of a sudden he's spoken to Jack, and that was all sorted. And Honey was a bit taken back by that.
She was, but so was Habiba, because Habiba was in the minute mark whilst he announced it to her, and Habiba, who'd been flirting with Adam pretty much for the whole week, winking and giving little side looks, and he keeps turning around and looking at her back too.
Yeah, no, he doesn't say no, does he? But he doesn't say yes.
Exactly. So he's keeping her. She's the cat and he's the toy, just hovering above, and she keeps.
And Ikra doesn't approve either.
No, well, she understands that he's in a relationship with someone already, and also that it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, because he's kind of the uncle.
Yeah,
kind of,
they're
like,
family.
Brought up like that. Yeah,
they're family. Maybe not blood, but they're related.
Well, Sharon would have words. She'd stick up for them.
Sharon, yeah, well, of course, Sharon's married her own brother, so she knows what to do.
Brother.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of similar thing. But so yeah, he's obviously Jack, who has every apartment and every flat and every house on the square. He's renting one out. I don't
like that Jack has so much power with property on the square. It's considering that there was the big storyline of Dagmar, Wilmot Brown trying to take over the square. I know that Jack has no intention of knocking down the Vic and turning it into flats or anything. But yeah, what if he is?
What if he clenches his fist one day and does it?
He'll probably use his own strength. He'll be like, Hulk smash! And just smack the building and all knock down.
Because I think is it Max's old house that is now flats where Ruby is? That's where Adam is renting, isn't it?
He's converted it into 3 flats.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a basement.
Or a garden, apparently.
Well, and a garden, yeah.
They seem to have magic to all this. None of that used to exist.
Well, I mean,
there used to be like a little tiny courtyard where they used to have a bit of washing. I
don't think they even had that. I think it was just a side, like a walkway behind the houses that people could get in from around
Jack's
the back.
An expert property developer, apparently.
Well, he's not that
great. Make space out of non-existent space.
I mean, when Kyle and who's Roxy's brother was there, they were stealing toilets at one point, and Jack was none the wiser. So I don't think Jack's that wise, is he? Really?
That's true.
Things happen. Well, we'll talk about it when we talk about the Slaters, but he also. His own family get taken away from him under his nose and he doesn't even realise it. He's a bit of a fool, is old Jack. He's just lucky. He just fell into this kind of property work and he's making money. My venom for Jack.
While this conversation was happening with Adam and Jack about getting the flat, Lola was overhearing. So she's going to be involved in this again.
Well, she was licking envelopes for Ruby. A bit of mundane work that Ruby happily gave to Lola, and so Lola overheard. So Lola's obviously a big advocate for Billy, so she's going to support him, as you said, after spilling spaghetti on Adam once already. So she's
still got my prediction that Adam will kill Lola.
Yeah,
so still got that chance.
Yes, well, that's if Adam is indeed as dark as we see glimpses of.
I hope Adam's the dark one and not Grey, because there was hints of that.
Yeah, he was a bit funny this week, wasn't he, old Grey? Yeah,
but there can't be 2 domestic abuse men on the square at one time, surely.
I don't know, because
I prefer Adam.
I'd rather Adam's story would be, but then because we know Honey so well, it would seem a little strange for Honey to kind of accept it. While with Chantelle, you don't really know the ins and outs, do you? So true. you could give it the benefit of the doubt with them.
Also, alert mentions of Miriam and Ashad possibly coming back sometime soon if they go over the flu.
Yes, they have the flu, and Honey didn't know that you could get the flu in hot countries.
Oh, it sounds funny, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just madness.
But it's been ages since we've seen them, so I wish they'd hurry up and come back.
Yeah, Ikra and Habiba seem really worried about them seeing them, so that's interesting.
Well, it's because they don't know they're in the house, do they? Well, apparently Masood hasn't told them, I'm assuming.
Well, I guess.
Even though it's Masood's house.
Well, first of all, yeah, Masood must have said something, but I just think there's more to it. I think there's but because obviously we know that Habiba had run away because she was arranged.
Ikra
for arranged marriage. Yeah. So maybe Miriam.
Yeah, because
and
Miriam's
Ashad.
quite traditional with that sort of stuff, isn't
maybe
she?
she
'Cause
doesn't
she
agree.
tried to set up Masood with that date and things. So
Mm.
yeah, I just want them to hurry up and come back. So I do miss them.
Yeah, I like them actually. They're really good characters. And also, it was such an opportunity to bring in young cast because they adopt or
And
they
Foster, yeah.
foster.
Well, we got it's Adam,
Who's what, 30 something?
if not more. Right. So next up, we have another section of This Is Your Life because a past character, don't know who, is coming back after some time away from the square. Can you guess who?
So we had the not so surprising return of Sean Slater on Friday, but he put his head around the door, didn't really do much. So we thought we'd take this as an opportunity for any listeners to refresh their memory of
Who is Sean Slater?
Sean Slater. This is your life, Sean Slater.
Oh,
so
what a lucky boy.
Exactly. So we're going to look at the first appearance of Sean Slater, which was from the 22nd of August 2006 to the 1st of January 2009.
Now 2019.
Which he's doing his return, but obviously we can't talk about that because that hasn't happened yet.
No.
So we're talking about his first time around on the soap, when he was revealed, first of all, in 2005 as being the brother of Stacey, when she finds a photograph after Jean had gone off the rails.
Folded in a particular way where you can't see him.
Yeah, it'd been folded out of the frame. So we always just thought that Jean had just the daughter Stacey, and then she opened up the frame and unfolded the photograph, and we saw that there was a brother all along.
There is a male Slater out there.
There is.
Hurrah!
There is, and so there's a bit of a background story to Sean. That is that he ran away from home after he had a bit of an altercation with his dad. He didn't really get on with his mum Jean, and he used to not bully her, but kind of tease her and wind her up. But he did get on with his dad. But after a fight, and he hit his dad around the head, his dad the next day died from an aneurysm.
So he's a murderer, but not really.
Well, not really. He didn't deliberately do it. No. He's a murderer in the same sense that Pauline Fowler had been murdered by Sonia Jackson after the slap round the face.
No, that's not the same.
No.
But yeah, I mean, it's something that toiled with him, I suppose.
Yeah, it was always something. And so when he did run away, he went to the army, and it was always a secret he kept to himself, and didn't really care to show any contact with his mum or his sister. Until a bit later, obviously, until 2006, when he did return. And
he then went on to sleep with every woman on the square, basically.
Yes. So he had a few. I mean, I've done 3 bullet points for Sean Slater. There's the one.
Is it 3 different women?
It is.
That stand out of his time.
Well, one of them is that his relationships with women. He was quite the womanizer. The second one is his relationship with his mum, Jean, because that was very strained throughout. And then the third one is the troublemaker, the Sean that likes to stir the pot on the square at the same time. So where would you like to start then? Should we talk about the women in his life?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, there's so many of them.
He came onto the soap basically chasing Tanya Branning from the Get Set.
That's a weird one.
Yeah, he liked her from the moment he stepped foot onto the square and kind of chased her throughout. Had relationships, though, in between, in the interim, while he was chasing Tanya.
It's a good time for Sean to come back as well, if you think about it, because Ruby's back on the square, and he had a thing with Ruby.
Well, that was his first proper relationship, because he started dating her when he discovered that she had a bit of money, so he saw her as a bit of a cash cow.
And he's obviously got a history with Max, because of the whole Tanya thing and the burying alive, and Max is on the square, so that's good timing.
Well, Max
he's not, is he?
No, he's not going to be on the square.
He's back the week after.
Yeah, so while Sean's there, Max isn't about.
What a wasted opportunity.
Kind
of. Just like when Ian wasn't there for Dr. Legg.
Yeah, maybe, but I think that I think the relationship between Max and Sean would never be that interesting.
There's history with Jack Branning as well. So it's a good time for Sean to be back. I suppose it's worked out well that he's back at this point.
Yeah.
With all those characters he's got history with, because there's Amy and there's Roxy's death and all sorts to tend
Well, yes,
with,
it's not his daughter though, Amy.
No.
Amy is obviously Jack's daughter with Roxy, and that's a storyline that happened also a bit later on with Sean. But as we say, so he had a relationship with Ruby, and then he started chasing after Tanya after he broke up with Ruby. But before then, he was having a relationship with Chelsea as well, who is Denise's daughter.
Yeah.
But then he cheated on Chelsea by having sex with her stepsister.
I know, another one on the belt.
And so then Chelsea and Dean set him up for a a punishment for a crime.
Yeah, he went to prison for a bit, didn't he? A few months.
He did.
So he's got beef with Shirley as well. So another one who's still on the square.
Yeah.
Beef all round this square. I don't think 4 episodes is going to be enough.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with Sean and Jean, really, because they've kind of kept the story between them two very quiet.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be very much driven by the Jean and Sean story.
There'll be some looks, though.
There will. A few looks thrown at one another. Sharon seems to had done a lot of that this week. So
maybe he'll sleep with Sharon this week.
Maybe. Well, Sharon's...
Do a hat trick.
I think Sharon's looking for a bit of comfort from someone else, not getting it from Phil or Keanu.
Yeah, so, I mean... He comes back from prison like wanting to get revenge on Dino and Chelsea as well. So this is when his more psychopathic side comes out, because he's a self-proclaimed psychopath.
Yes.
Another one
he's
on
done
the square.
He did the online... he did the paper test. This was before the online test existed. He sent off for the paper test, a bit like Mensa.
Yeah, he's a wrong'un.
He's a wrong'un.
But he's like a lovable wrong'un.
He is.
Can't help but love him, a bit cheeky.
He's a nice... He's a Slater, isn't he? So you kind of support that. You cheer them along to a degree, because he's not really done anything too wrong. He's just... Although, having said that, he had deliberately tried to go out of his way to upset Gus. If you remember Gus when he was...
I know, it was really dark. He tried to
he wanted to kill him
and make it look like a suicide.
Yeah, and Stacey... but
Gus.
Stacey kind of talked him down and said to him that perhaps that's a bit nutty.
And isn't it interesting to think that Kat and Sean, I don't think they've ever shared a scene together. Isn't that weird? Kat Slater and
Kat
Sean, they've never like crossed paths.
Oh.
Really odd to think that.
Yeah, that's strange.
So that'd be interesting to see what they're like if they have a scene together, hopefully.
Yeah, well, Kat seems to be the only Slater that seems to be remembered in that house now. We were saying, weren't we, that the Slater house has gone... The numbers have dwindled very quickly.
It's like an empty barren.
Yeah, it's like an echo now in there when you shout down there.
So who else is he slept with? Because that's the next on the list. Well, just go through with his relationships.
Well,
really.
He eventually did get together with Tanya, and they came up with the plan to get rid of Max, which is the infamous Buried Alive storyline.
It got rewritten. Well, apparently it didn't get rewritten, but a lot of people think it did.
Well, the rumour is that it was meant to go on for a lot longer than it did, and they cut it very short. Basically, the next episode, Tanya then dug.
Yeah.
Felt guilty for Max and dug him back up. I mean, I love the scene when you see Max being rolled into the box, he's like, and he's all drugged up or knocked out, and
he stayed in that box, eh?
I know. It would have been a lovely...
It would have been better for everyone.
Romantic justice, wouldn't it? But Tanya had double-crossed Sean, apparently, and the fact that Tanya had done this deliberately to think Sean and her could be something, but actually did it to get Max's affections back toward her. So she tried to... This was the story. She tried to fool Max into thinking that they were back together, then tried to bury him alive, making Sean think that she likes him. And then did it actually because she wanted Max back with her in the first place and used Sean in that regard.
See, that smells like a rewrite to me.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, wasn't it?
Poor Sean, no wonder he's got attachment issues.
But he also reveals to Tanya, the only one on the square, really, that he feels like he killed his dad. And so she uses that against him when he threatens to tell their daughter, Abby, one mentioned in the episode,
R.I.P.
and Lauren, that she tried to bury their dad alive, and she's like, no, well, you say that and I'll tell your family that you killed your dad. So that's
interesting. I'm not sure. I'm sure someone will correct us if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's come out to Jean yet. That Sean is...
But that's what I mean. I think that's still a secret.
What this story was going to be, do you think, in 2019?
Well, doesn't he come on saying he's sorry?
Something like that.
Yeah.
There's like an accident as well, so he could be saying sorry about anything.
But I suppose
there's a tractor, there's all sorts.
It's the combine harvester. I mean, it could be, yeah, you're quite right. It could be that, but it makes good sense if that's not been revealed yet, that he might be,
it's like that last unfinished business, I guess, isn't it?
Just to clean it up a little bit.
I mean, just when he thought he found love with Roxy, and he thought, I have a daughter.
Well, yes, Roxy was his next one, but Archie didn't like Sean very much. He thought he was a bit of a wrong and not good for his daughter. So Archie finds out that Amy isn't Sean's, and
he's lovely Jack's,
and gets the DNA test and pops it in a cracker, ready for a Christmas dinner, ready to be popped open by Sean to find out.
Poor Sean.
I know, the one blood legacy he had, but he didn't. After all.
So yeah, Amy's taken away from him, and that's like his final spiral out of control, where he tries to like take Amy, but then he gives Amy to Stacey, and then him and Roxy. He's gonna like kill him and Roxy in like an icy lake. It's very over the top.
Yeah, but it's good. It's really well filmed. Like, there's still to this day, it looks really great to watch the scene when they crack through the ice and they both fall through. And Roxy gets herself caught in the weeds underneath. Foreshadowing for her future. And
because Ronnie gets her out this time.
Well, no, Sean pulls her out the weeds, then swims away. I mean, he holds his breath for it. He's like a scuba diver, like a free diver breath holder.
Yeah, he's very fit.
Yeah, very fit. And she pops out of the water, sees Sean pop out from the other side of the lake, and she just gestures for him to just go, run away. And that's his last scene.
I know.
So Roxy gives him a chance to leave, even though everyone else wants justice against Sean.
No, he was mentioned in 2015 as well. Off screen, he was on his Skype call that we like to talk about with Stacey.
Yes.
And that's when like the key stuff is happening. So I wonder if him and Stacey are going to mention that, or do you think that's been forgotten, that secret family? They just want to wipe that from history.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the key. The secret
Kyle.
of Kyle.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good if they just bring up Kyle.
A little mention.
Because Kyle's just been forgotten, which is
and
a
there's
shame.
2 other sisters we've not met yet.
Yeah.
And Denise Welsh, she wants a job.
I'll bring back Denise. I love a bit of Denise. The loose woman she is.
Yeah.
I mean, also interestingly, he said in 2009 that he would like to have returned for Roxy's exit storyline.
I know, yeah. He said that's one of the only things he would have returned for.
And he didn't.
I know.
He didn't return for it.
Well, he didn't want to come back to that, did he?
Well, I mean, it was a horrible exit for poor old Roxy and Ronnie. But you were saying...
Kate Oates has got the chops to talk him into it, obviously. Obviously, Sean O'Connor didn't.
Which she has. She really has. I mean, when it was mentioned... when it was revealed that Sean was returning, Kate Oates said it was exciting to work with an actor with Rob's drive, passion and eye for detail. I can't wait to see the impact his arrival causes. So, yeah.
It's a big thing, because no one thought they'd ever see him again.
No.
Because he's been doing really well overseas, and he's got loads of projects on. But he took some time out just to film this. So
out of his busy schedule, he just popped in, said hello and popped back out again.
And I think he's had loads of input into the storyline as well. I think that's part of what made him say yes, because he's been able to have loads of input into what the storyline is.
Yeah.
And stuff. So, yeah.
So the storyline is obviously his return for Jean, so this would be a perfect opportunity to discuss the strained relationship Jean and Sean had, because there wasn't really a bond between them at all, and really his return is all based on the fact that Jean possibly wants to say goodbye or have clean up the loose ends between them. Yeah,
just in case she doesn't make it. But I suppose because last year she was taking Hayley on as like her redemption for sort of ignoring or not bringing Stacey up very well.
Yeah,
but I suppose she hasn't had that chance to redeem the way she brought up her son or the way their relationship has gone.
Obviously Sean is a lot older than Stacey, and Sean left Stacey to look after Jean when she was only 11 years old. But you know, he never got on with his mum. Jean and him were just almost like chalk and cheese, or perhaps, you know, a bit. He was more like his father, and so that's why he was so guilt ridden, and he had to run away once he killed his. Not deliberately, but had the blow and ended Brian's life, exactly. And so ran away, and so left Stacey to look after Jean. So again, the relationship between him and Stacey is also a strained one. And perhaps has he ever apologised for leaving her to look after Jean, leaving a young girl to care for her, you know, mentally deteriorating mother?
There's lots of things underlining for this return. Because I know that there's like even scenes with Ruby as well, because obviously the way they parted wasn't the best of terms. I
mean, again, I remember a scene with Ruby was just, I think her father had just died, and obviously that's a sad thing, but she had cried continuously for like 2-3 days, and Sean is just sat there looking just dumbfounded and just completely bored of her continuous tears, and it was at that point I think he was just like, you know what, the money that I could get from you isn't really worth this hassle. So, as Ruby, I feel a bit sorry for Ruby, because Ruby's always been this kind of like, I'm Ruby.
Even when she was in the Bill, she was as well.
She was a PC Ruby.
But yeah, it's very exciting for this return. I mean, obviously, I think this is most likely the last time we will ever see Sean.
Yes, I mean, anyone excited to think that this is going to be this step forward for Sean's big return? He, Robert really doesn't have a need to return to the soap. Not just that sounds a bit disrespectful to anyone who has returned to the soap full time recently, but I mean, he's doing work outside, and this was literally him having a week off to quickly pop in, do this, and pop back out again.
So it needs to end fully.
Yes,
I mean, he has scenes with Amy as well. We see that he takes Amy. Is he going to take Amy and then she's going to come back recast in a few years, maybe? Perfect opportunity.
I mean, Jack doesn't really take care of his kids very much. No. It's very much, someone's upstairs, I'm going to leave you for 5 hours, see you in a bit. So it in a way, I don't mind if Amy did kind of scoot off with Sean, but then it's not Sean's.
Yeah, Amy but it's a good opportunity for a little recast there.
Yeah, I mean, they could discuss perhaps shared rights, but again, Sean's not really shown any kind of maternal instinct to really want to take a kid. Will
Sean make it out alive?
Also,
is this going to be his end?
Interesting.
I don't know. He needs to fully finish his character, I guess.
But it's to find really the interesting part of this all would be to see exactly what Sean has returned in relation, because it's his mum that's brought him back. So he's been in contact with Stacey all this time. We know that because Stacey's had his phone number.
Yeah, on and off.
On and off. Yeah, but they've kept in contact, and nothing Stacey has said or done has caused him to want to return.
No.
But Jean's phone call has. So there must be.
He's got to say goodbye to his mum just in case.
Yeah, but there's an underlying root there, and I just have a feeling that it's going to be more to it than just I'm sorry.
All I want to know is, will he sleep with someone in those 4 episodes? Will he have a little chance to pop one in quick?
Pop one in. Such a charming way of putting it.
Well, will he? Grant did when he came back for a little bit. When he came back for those few weeks.
Who did he pop one in with? I can't remember. I mean, he had the scenes with Jane. Yeah. Where, like he never popped one in. He just kind of said, "I'm not gonna." That's a horrible phrase. Popped one in. But they
pop
just
a scene in. I mean, not him in.
Pop himself in.
Well, it's part of his character.
I don't think it is though. I think Sean only did it in more. It was a
carry on the
thing.
Sean Slater legacy.
No, I mean Sean's relationship with women was always because he never felt like there was a place for him anywhere, and he almost liked to artificially place himself by having this little family. So that's why he always wanted to be with a woman. He never had the kind of adult figure that he always felt like he deserved, and so I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, he's got Jean. Jean's on she's quite stable mentally now, which she wasn't when she last saw Sean. So hopefully their relationship can go through that sort of next level.
I mean, Jean's much more ready for Sean now as well. I think, as you say, because she's now more on the straight and narrow. Yeah. Rather than the way she was before. She can, we know Jean can stand up for herself now, and she hates that people think otherwise. So if Sean comes in and starts patronising her again, I think Jean will stand on her own 2 feet a lot more.
Yes, very exciting. So next week, Sean Week.
Sean Week, yes. Get your flags out, get ready, get the bunting on the house, because Sean is back.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
And we're very excited to talk about him next week.
We are. We're all fresh on our minds now, what he's been up to, who he's been up to. So...
what he's been popping into. And that was Sean Slater. This is your life.
Right, so funny enough, that This Is Your Life with Sean Slater kind of links into the next story we're talking about, which is about Jean Slater.
Oh, smooth. What a smooth continuity link.
He was back this week, only very, very shortly, and his full-time return is next week.
But his presence was very much liked by a lot of people on the social medias, so it's nice to see him back. Nice little
smile, isn't he?
He didn't look any different, he didn't look any older, he was wearing the same kind of khaki clothes that he always known
beefier.
For. Bit beefier, yeah.
His hair was a bit messy from behind.
We don't know what's been happening to him, do we? There was a video that was released straight afterwards on Twitter where they did an interview with Robert.
With Rob Kazinsky.
And he basically was meant to do this long interview with lots of questions and answers, and I think they get through 2. And then he says, "I'm too cold, I'm not doing it anymore." And
they filmed it on some weird hill, and it was snowing. Well, it wasn't snowing, but it was really cold. And he's very posh.
Yes, I was very surprised. Yeah. It's like the Pat St. Clement, the Pat Butcher effect, isn't it? Because you hear Pat going, "Oh, rah, rah, rah," and then you see her in real life and woo, hello. Very strange.
Very posh Roberts. Poshish Slater.
Posh Rob.
So how did we get to Sean smiling and back in a car? We have to rewind a bit and go through the motions. So Jean is getting quite emotional and worried. She's very stressed, and her best mate Shirley notices this.
Yeah. She's tired from all the chemo she's been having, and the Slaters aren't really letting Kat and Mo aren't letting her rest, so they're getting her to look after her kids while they're running around the Vic. And Shirley pulls her in and says, right, you need to go upstairs, have half an hour. And that's when they have a nice chat between them over a bottle of wine.
It was a nice chat. And Jean's basically tells her how she's scared. She thinks like she can feel the cancer spreading, and
yeah, she's worried of her own mortality, isn't she? She thinks this is it. She doesn't believe that the chemo's working. She can feel it. She knows her own body. She can feel it growing inside of her. Really upsetting words to hear. Like she's almost giving up already, and so she's finally realised that she wants to fulfil that dream on her wish list, and that's see Sean.
You say wish list. There's just one thing on the list.
I'm going to kick the bucket list.
See Sean. There's nothing else on the list, is there?
Yeah, but that's obviously on her mind, isn't it? And it's obviously been on her mind for a really long time, especially with Hayley recently, where she's been looking after Hayley, and she feels like she had a second chance with Cherry and Hayley, and so perhaps at that point, that was when she realised that she needed to see Sean one more time to maybe just appease, build the bridges that had been broken.
And we did get a Hayley mention, which surprised me.
Yeah, well, Stacey does a really good impression of that character from the Brady Bunch when she goes, Hayley, Hayley, Hayley. Because Stacey's been to show a few signs of jealousy, maybe, or upset that Jean she seems to be giving her all this love and attention, and Jean just seems to be like, oh, that's nice, Stacey. I want to see Sean, yeah.
And Stacey's the one that's sort of been there the whole time, hasn't she? Like, even when she was young, she was the one there, not Sean. But I don't know. Jean does say to her, "Oh, it's just because you're jealous of her. You're jealous of that mother and son bond." And Stacey sort of dismisses it, and then they end up in an argument, and she goes to collect the kids. She does.
I mean, Stacey and Shirley and Kat all warn Jean, saying that there's a reason why you haven't seen Sean for such a long time, and it's a good one.
Because you're better off out.
Yeah, you're better off really not getting involved with his life, because it's not going to be a good outcome if you do. And Stacey, as we know from last week, has already tried to get in touch with Sean, and she tells Jean this after she's basically given up. She's lost her rag with Jean going on and on and on about Sean. She said, well, you know what? I have actually got in touch with Sean, and this is how great your son is. He hasn't bothered to come see you. And he knows you've got cancer. Because she wanted to be the one to tell Sean she had cancer as well. Yeah. So that kind of ripped the carpet underneath Jean. Because I think Jean felt even more betrayed by Stacey at that point. Because she thought, well, you've hid the number from me. You've already contacted him. And you've already diagnosed me to Sean. So you've taken any kind of power or relationship that could have started with Sean away from me immediately. So if he does come, then that's
she's just trying to help, don't she, Stacey?
I mean, Stacey is
it's hard to know what to say and what not to say about Jean, because she's very easy to get upset, like if you baby her or if you don't so I do feel for Stacey.
I mean, her illness is a tricky one, isn't it? But she's got it under control, and she has had it under control for a long time. And this is another thing. Stacey has questioned whether Jean has had it under the control because of the whole Hayley thing earlier. So again, the trust between her and Stacey seems to get broken down more and more.
We also had Jean when Stacey went to go get the kids. That was a strange thing. Jack asked her.
I thought that was odd. I didn't know this relationship with Jack was you pick up my children from school kind of relationship.
Yeah, maybe she does it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Jack does it one day a week.
Jack does it one day a month, more than likely. There's an imaginary person upstairs. His name's Ricardo. We'll speak to him later.
Ingrid used to do it 5 days a week.
But he hasn't replaced the nanny, has he? Ingrid was indisposable. Yeah, that's true. Free nanny. This is how Jack gets his money, you see.
So Jean went into the hospital appointment by herself, and the nurse mentioned this thing about bleeding. Because she was talking about losing her hair and how if she was looking after herself and things. But yeah, they mentioned this it's not like an illness, but it's something that can happen, which I can't pronounce. So that's why I'm walking around it at the moment.
Is it a form of? I can't remember now. Is it like internal bleeding that doesn't clot? Something along those lines.
It's a condition in which you have a low blood platelet count.
Okay.
They are colourless blood cells that help blood clot.
Yeah.
So basically, if you have a cut,
Yep.
which she said, if I have a paper cut, I'm not going to die, then it won't stop bleeding.
Yeah.
So they've mentioned this for a reason, because they don't normally mention like things by name like that. Like the nurse dropped it in.
So it'll be something that you need to remember in a week or two's time.
Yeah.
She'll fall over and like to have a little cut on her knee, but then next minute it'll go on gangrene and her leg needs to be chopped off, something along those lines.
So yeah, maybe interesting to remember that, I guess.
Keep that in mind.
It stood out to me because they actually said it, and it's a weird name. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
No.
Begins with T. There you go.
Lovely.
And then Jean also said how she was worried that she's starting to notice her hair falling out on the pillow and little bits and stuff. And the woman mentioned about a wig, didn't she? So
she did, because Jean, again, referencing Sean, said, "I want to look the best for my son." It was so, honestly, my heart just, Jean, I mean, we've said this a million times before, and the actress who plays Jean is just remarkable. She needed a storyline, and she needed a powerful one, because all she seems to have is the bipolar and, you know, her mental stability as her storyline. And this is, okay, it's an illness, but it's one that, it's a bit different because she has to be strong, so her mental stability is in question, but at the same time, you know, it's something she has to fight. And I don't know, it's just been portrayed so well. Every time there's a scene, it lights up the screen for me. And I, as much as I've said that the Mitchell story has been great, or better this week, like it's still Jean's stories that is the reason I kind of want to tune in and find out.
It's like the truest story, isn't it? Jean's one. It's the most like relatable and the most, it's something that actually probably could happen.
Yeah.
Whereas something in the Mitchells probably not going to happen in your family or into someone you know.
Yeah, it's a bit over the top. And,
so it's a bit more relatable in that way. I mean, it's not quite hitting those notes for me yet.
Okay.
It's getting there, but it just needs something.
I
think maybe
a little redhead
something
mix.
next. Yeah, I mean, hopefully next week is going to be where it really goes full momentum. But there's just it's not quite hitting the emotional notes for me yet. I don't know why.
Okay.
I thought it would be.
No, it has for me, but then I kind of invested it from the beginning, and I think they could have literally had Jean just smack everyone round the head with a fish, and I'd still be like, "That Jean, she's amazing."
You know, she's going to get her wish because Amy wanders off at BC Wolford Primary School as well, so that's fun.
Yeah, well, Stacey, ever the vigilant mum, is just on the phone to Martin.
Well, yeah.
Because Martin has been to a funeral this week.
I know.
Reference and a half. I mean,
drop it in there.
That was insane. I mean, we a couple of weeks ago, we gave props to the archivist, and yet again, I applaud you, sir. I stand. It's the aunt of Martin that was mentioned in 2 episodes back in the 90s?
Yeah, a few episodes, yeah. The long lost daughter of Lou Bill. But yeah, it's funny, they just like, oh, Martin's at a funeral. It's like, oh, what?
Yeah, but it was the fact that they were specific. They said it's Aunt Maggie.
Yeah.
And you were like, Aunt Maggie? You've never seen someone frantically Google Aunt Maggie in all your life.
What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely mad. I also have to say of note that Stacey's did another at the school gates this week. So what's that, 4th one this year?
And did you notice when she was on the phone to Martin, she said, wow, why? Who's turned up to the funeral, I'm assuming? So someone's turned up. Also
another character who Martin might bring back with him from Aunt Maggie's funeral.
I'm digging my claws in looking for something.
Yeah.
So there's something there. But yeah, I'm guessing it's because the actor was on paternity leave. Because they filmed the Sean Slater ones like out of sync, didn't they?
Yes, it's been filmed a bit more into I think it was March time.
So I'm assuming like Stacey's going to plop into like not looking pregnant and then suddenly looking pregnant and stuff. It's going to be a bit difficult.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I'm guessing that's why they've had to write Martin out like this for these few weeks. Amy just went with Sean. No stranger danger for her.
Did she? She's like,
she's used to it. Being palmed off to who knows who.
Well, Amy did say, like, did Mum really send you? It's like, well, first of all, Amy, your mum's in heaven. Remember that chat that Dot gave you over the fish pie or whatever she made, or the fish finger supper? And she was like, oh, angels go to heaven. Your mum's in heaven with the angels. You know, and so Amy, I mean, Amy's clearly got her dad's brains, which is Jack Branning, and not really got the wits of her mum just yet anyway.
I know. There's so little Mitchell women left. There's Louise and Amy. It's like, oh,
I know, and they're both
what
really
would Peggy
think? You were hoping that they were going to take Amy, like Amy was going to go for a long time, and then come back as a whole new actress. Yeah, 10 years older.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do feel sorry for the girl, but she's not the best young actress on the show. Maybe she's not been given time to shine. She'll be working with Robert for a week now, so she might learn.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Tips.
A professional. No, all the actors on that show have been amazing. But yeah, it's great to see Rob back. It really is. Don't be mean. Don't be cruel.
But yeah, he's back. He's got Amy in the car. I don't know how he knows what Amy looks like, because he last saw her when she was a baby. I don't know how he knows what school she goes to.
Yeah, I know. There's a few what ifs, isn't there?
Maybe Amy's got a Facebook page.
Maybe.
And Sean's been on there.
She More stranger danger.
Yeah.
She is always on that iPad.
That's true. Recording, kissing and things.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's creepy.
But yeah, I don't know what he's going to do with Amy. He's just...
Bowling,
because he
burger.
doesn't know that Roxy's dead, does he? I don't think. I don't think he's been told this.
No, that's... Yeah. But then doesn't he visit her grave next week?
Yes. The one that she shares with Ronnie.
Yes, because... Yeah, she finally
Second
gets
billing on the grave.
Yeah, exactly. She finally gets an acknowledgement that she also died in that incident at the hotel. Remember that?
So maybe Amy's going to be the one to have to break the news to him.
Also, then maybe we might see the acting chops of young Amy this week.
Because she suddenly becomes like really good. And I'll be like, what?
Under the wing of Kate Oakes and John Sen.
Right, next up we've got the storyline, which is the one that not many people have asked for, but they're getting it.
You're being forced down your throat. And you know what? Bex is so excited.
She is. She's tired though.
But she's so tired.
And yes, we left off last week was when Kush found the pills.
Yes.
And she tried to explain them away, but then he looked at her again, and then she burst out and told him what was going on.
Yeah, I mean,
kind of.
She's not a great liar, is she?
No,
she's
still lying a lot. She's lying to Kush saying, "Oh no, I'm selling them, and they're Stuart's."
Well, she's got Stuart on her side, though, hasn't she? So she's got Stuart involved with her lies now. But there was always a caveat by Stuart that if he lies for her, then she has to go to an addiction therapy meeting.
I didn't think we'd see that room again.
No Rainey in there. I thought Rainey was.
No, she's over that now.
She's got kids to look after.
So yeah, she gets Stuart to help. Stuart's kind of being nice and funny, like a comedy character this time.
Yeah, I mean, I think he cares for Bex, actually, genuine cares. A lot of people are on the square think it's a bit too close, but I think he just
they need to be looking at Kush, not Stuart.
Well, quite right. I do think he sees her as his daughter. It's kind of he's putting under his wing and wants to take care of her. And the best way he knows how is almost a shock to the system to kind of say, okay, I will lie to you so you can carry on, studying to get into Oxbridge or Oxford and so on. But, you need to see that it's normal people who get addicted. It's not just drug addicts or lower income people. It's everyday people who get
people
addicted.
That go to Oxbridge.
Especially people who go to Oxbridge. Her friend last week are taking ADHD pills.
I know, going for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, because Kush then asks Stuart, doesn't he? Thinking he's being clever and
Kush asks around, doesn't he? He says, there's rumours that Stuart had kidnapped someone in the boot, and shot himself in the chest.
Not true, are they?
Yeah, did that happen, Martin? Did it?
No, we don't talk about 2018.
Yeah, that was a sad year.
So yeah, he then has a little meeting, and Stuart backs up Bex's lies, ready to then take Bex to the weird meeting. But then Bex says to Stuart that she won't take them, but she does. So she's lying to Stuart now.
With a Red Bull. So taking a toxic product with caffeine.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, there's a reason why they tell you not to take pills with caffeine and alcohol. And that's because you're basically mixing two things together.
We saw her last week at E20.
Well, that's true.
Gone.
Dropping vodka and G&Ts down her throat like there's no tomorrow.
And the other part of this storyline, we also had Kush is got another love interest, not just Bex. He's on the other end of the scale now with Kat Slater. Seems to be very interested in him.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? It's just kind of come about, but it seems right. It's almost the Shianu effect. It's on paper, reading it, you think, oh, that's so dumb.
I think that's down to Jessie Wallace though, because she just she seems to be able to just have chemistry with anyone, quite flawlessly. Something about her, but it kind of works.
Well, I mean, they seem to have a bond, and Kat seems to had this communication with Kush. Like she saw through his, oh yeah, I've got a friend of a friend, and this friend, has a problem with this other friend. And Kat was like, as soon as they had their chat, and she went back to the table with Mo, she's like, oh yeah, he's got a problem with Martin and Bex, which was brilliant actually, because I hate it when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a nice wink to the viewers to say, like, we know that this is a bit daft, so. We're with you. We're taking the ride with you.
And he's looking after her Gran for her. Big Mo's loving it.
Yeah, Big Mo's having a great time in his flat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they share stories about Gran's eating habits and television habits and toilet habits and all the gross stuff that you really don't want to know about Big Mo.
And we had an Alfie mention on the swings.
Yes, because she took Arthur onto the
Not
PG.
sure about his haircut.
Well, Arthur's.
I think he needs a haircut now.
I don't think he had a choice in the matter, Arthur, to be
It was
fair.
like-
Mummy, I don't want it like this.
It's like all over his face, like down to his nose, his fringe was. It's really bad.
Yeah, but that's what Claudia Winkleman's, Stacey's daughter used to
Oh, yeah.
have. She's
Maybe
always
it's
had that
like
big
Stacey's
fringe.
one haircut she can do. Stacey's a hairdresser, but not properly
Well, yeah,
qualified.
of course, she must cut her kid's hair.
So maybe it's just that's the only one she knows how to do.
I mean, Stacey knows.
Fringe.
Stacey also knows how to clean out a U-bend.
Well,
She
yeah.
learned from Max.
Ugh.
Yeah. Well, she did.
There's you, Ben, joking there somewhere.
But
I'm not going to do
you
it.
found it, not me, love.
No one needs Max.
He's coming back, though.
I know. Same week as Mick.
Mm.
It's a little spoiler for everyone. Enjoy.
Joy?
Enjoy.
Oh, Enjoy. I thought we said, who's
Yeah.
Joy? Joy is a love interest for Ted.
Well, I've got a spoiler for Ted, but I won't say it at the moment.
Oh,
I'll
keep
tell
it.
you off the screen. Not the screen. What are we on? Off the microphone.
Okay, tell me later.
But yeah, it's very interesting.
All right. So they are doing something with Ted.
Yeah.
Okay, keep it between you
I
and
will.
me.
Ted and Taylor's. So we've got that relationship with Kat and Kush. That's nice, bubbling away.
Yeah, I like it.
Very-
I'm quite enjoying it.
Very hot.
I reckon their relationship is going to
They'll
be.
put
Ooh.
Sharon to.
Shianu, yeah.
They'll look like they're boring.
I
Compared.
mean, Keanu's look like grapes. Blooming Kush's are going to look like, I don't know, pips. The pips of the grapes.
Oh dear.
He'll be so tired.
Right. To get this all back on track, we've
Yes.
got a game next. My game, special game.
We got a message, didn't we? We had an answer phone message from an old friend.
Yes, he can't find his way home.
Oh no, not again.
So yes, back by popular demand. Halfway's hat 3. Right, are you ready for Halfway's hat?
Yeah, he's back, isn't he? The cheeky little scamp.
He's back, but he's missing again.
Well, yeah, so he's back in the sense that he's back to tease us with his location.
He needs your help, which isn't very good normally. So.
My help is perfectly ample. It's just that I need to be propped up by some people, perhaps on the social medias. And again, this may be the case this week.
I think so. So just to refresh everyone's memory, in case they don't know who Halfway's hat is, he's Halfway's hat. And he's obviously, we know that Halfway's now called Callum, and Halfway's hat seems to have gone missing.
Well, yeah, he's almost lost his superhero mask by removing his hat, and his hat basically, because it's unwanted now, has decided to go on a few adventures round
He
Wolford.
easily gets lost around Wolford.
He really does.
So he sends us a few messages just to let us know where he is. So he's got a few senses.
Yes.
So he sends us 3, and then you have to guess where he is.
Yeah. So it could be sight or touch or taste or
Smell.
yeah. And he
all
gives us
sorts.
little clues because he doesn't
But he
know
can't
where
walk.
he is. Yeah. Well, he does know where he is. It's weird, isn't he? Because he knows where he is. So he could just give us the information directly, and then this
Yeah.
whole thing would be moot. But no, he decides to play a little game with us.
That's correct. Right, so I've got 3 things from him. So he's just got a little message. So here you go.
Hello, I'm Halfway's hat,
We know who you are.
and I seem to have gotten myself lost again. Would you be ever so nice and try and find where I am?
Oh.
So he is asking for help.
He's asking
Quite
for help,
nicely.
but he knows. Well, he's playing us, Ben. He's playing us. He's like the cat.
He's just attention seeking.
Yeah, well, he says he's hungry, but he was fed like 10 minutes ago.
Right, so we have a smell.
Good for you.
He can feel something, or he can hear something. So which one do you want to hear first?
I'm gonna go with feel.
No, he can feel something. Okay, you ready?
That's so corrupt.
I can feel something very hot near me.
He must have touched it as he said it.
Yeah, he must have leaned his head into it, top of his hat into it.
What, the ball at the top?
Yeah.
That's the part where it has the thickest. That's the thick skin of of Halfway's hat. Very hot. Oh goodness me, that could be anywhere. I'm presuming it's somewhere where there's food. So my first guess is going to be Bill's place.
Oh, okay. So what else do you want to hear? We've got he can smell something and he can hear something.
I'm going to say smell because I think it's food. So.
Oh.
I can smell oil.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oil. So this kind of strengthens my...
He has a nose, apparently.
Well, the picture of him, all he has is eyes. So it just amazes me how... there was a really nice holiday snap he sent, actually. I might post that on Twitter of him having a nice time in Wolford. Well, oil, again, would indicate Bill's place, because it's a fish and chip shop, isn't it? But then it could be Wolford East. Could very well be the Vic.
Could be the cafe. Could be the mechanics. Who knows? Toasty sandwich. Something hot.
What,
Or something hot.
Yeah, but you don't burn oil at the garage at
you
Mitchell
can smell
Motors.
Oil, and also you could.
Well, you could be at the
touch an
PG.
exhaust fume, and that's hot.
Yeah, but he could be at the PG, couldn't he? He could be on a hot day and touching the
tarmac.
swing set, the tarmac, yeah, the wood chip on the floor.
Right, you got one more. Do you want to hear what is left?
Hearing.
What you
It's
can
hear.
hear.
I want to hear the hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what can he hear?
I can hear things bubbling.
Bubbling. Well, see, this all leads to food establishments. So oil. I mean, I've not had a lot of luck going on my first instinct, but I think my luck is about to change. So I am going to stick with Bill's place.
Okay, do you want to know? Do you want to find out? Are you correct or not?
Yes, you're correct. I'm definitely in Bill's Place fish and chip shop.
Yay! I got it right for a change.
That's very good.
Can't throw it out to anyone this week.
Well, let us know if you guessed it.
Yeah,
everyone.
Obviously on the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, all the regulars that I spout out all the time on the podcast. Let us know if you got it too. Also, if you have any of your own, if maybe you've had a phone call from Halfway's hat recently, and perhaps he's dropped a few clues to you. Perhaps
he's very elusive, so I'm not sure.
He is. If you have an idea for where Halfway's hat might be for a future game, then send it our way, eastendersweekly@gmail.com. Just remember to put in the subject Halfway's hat, and then I won't be able to see it, but Ben will, because Halfway's hat only communicates with Ben. I did something a few years ago that really upset him. I took away his wool ball.
Oh.
Yeah, and because he was being a bad Halfway's hat, you know, he wasn't listening to me. I was asking him to eat up his dinner.
No, he doesn't eat. He's a hat.
Okay.
You're going too far with this.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you
Halfway's
are.
hat is real, and I'm telling you, he's
I want to know if
holiday
he's going to
snap.
be invited to Callum and Whitney's wedding.
I want to know if Callum and Whitney's child will be a small Halfway's hat, and you find out that Whitney actually has had an affair with Halfway's hat this whole time, and that's why he's gone away, because he's eloping with Whitney and trying to find a location to live in.
Well, only time will tell.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you found him, so that's nice. We can all breathe and relax now because he's safe.
And also, I won't get horrible messages from people saying, "You're an idiot."
Yeah.
You should have got
so
that.
Much of an idiot, apparently.
No, I got 1 out of 3 so far.
There you go. So that was Where's Halfway's Hat? Well, that was a delightful.
I got it right as well.
I know.
Which is a shame, because I like it when people
throw it in.
their ideas into the hat.
I got it on the first guess. That's what you'll get.
Yeah.
Although you got it on the first guess. Oh yeah, shut up then. There's nothing anyone can say.
I got it without any clues. There you go.
So we have got a Ruby J Lola situation going on. Another love triangle on the square.
Oh my god, it's like a dream.
Not much of this storyline makes sense, but we'll go for it. So Ruby's back from her spa weekend early, and she's been told that Ross and Matthew have been given 10 years each.
And she just can't feel good about it, even though she's gone through this turmoil for 6 months, this big pain, this payoff that she's ultimately wanted, this court case. She can't feel good about it.
Well, I suppose because she knows that she almost killed one of them, so...
But she didn't kill them, she almost cut off his manhood.
He might have died.
Well, I suppose from infection and bleeding.
Yeah.
I can't get over that scene. Sorry, as soon as you said that, I've just remembered that scene again when you saw Stacey and Martin walking into the flat, and you just see tenderly Ruby undoing his trousers with a pair of scissors in her other hand and turning down the zip. Really calm and almost
calm and collected.
Yeah, and now she's like, I just can't feel good about them going down for 10 years. It's just, it's like yin and yang. It just doesn't make sense.
And Jay gets it all out in the open. He said, I kissed Lola, but she's like, we went to go, doesn't matter. And then they decide they're going to make a go of it. That's when Jay then gets rushed off because of the Mitchell family business.
It's family business and you need to be there now.
And Billy sort of swoops in and wants her to offer Lola a job for some reason, which is really ridiculous.
He wants her because Lola's obviously becoming a bit redundant in the whole Mitchell storyline.
After a week.
Yeah. Billy has the foreshadowing of knowing that her days are numbered. So, wants her to... But he likes her being around.
It's so forced to put Lola and Ruby together, though. It makes no sense. But last week, Denise offered her a salon job, which is a job that she actually can do. Yeah,
trained and qualified in.
And she's like, no, I'm not staying around. And then he goes, I've got your trial with Ruby, being, what is she, an events manager?
No, she's a personal assistant to Ruby.
Yeah. It's like, what qualifications does Lola have to do this?
And what's more, Ruby literally made up the job on the spot. It's like, what can I give you? You can be my personal assistant.
Yeah, sure, she can have it for a week.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I make enough money, even though I've had no clients for 6 months because I've been, in this big, court case over, storm cloud over me.
It's so silly. And again, I know we keep talking about characters having character transplants, but Ruby just changed all of a sudden on one episode.
Yeah.
Only to fund the pro-Lola agenda. It's so forced to force these two girls together who are going to eventually fight over Jay. And it's so forced that it doesn't make sense.
No, I entirely agree with you.
It's not even funny, actually. It's not even laugh out loud funny.
I think,
it's
it's meant to be light-hearted as well. You're meant to think, oh dear, Lola's treading on Ruby's toes.
And Ruby's being a mean boss.
yeah. Really horrible boss, Ruby. Ooh, nasty, boo. Ruby was a horrible boss, to be fair.
Yeah, but it didn't make any sense why she was being so horrible. She's never been like that before.
Yeah,
although
she
did fire that guy who...
Well, this is it, isn't it? And it kind of makes a bit of sense, doesn't it? It kind of put it into context. Now is being put into context, finally, of this guy
She's just a horrible boss.
Yeah, who accused her of just kind of using him and then throwing him away. And it kind of did maybe happen that way, because look at what Ruby is doing now to Lola. I mean, Ruby would not give Lola any time of day of ideas, even though her client that she was talking to...
To be fair, Lola has no experience, so she doesn't deserve any time.
Yeah, but there was the human touch, wasn't it? Ruby's obviously got no human emotions. She's just like, this is the business.
She says she's got the plan. She needs to sell her plan, not the other way around.
But you also have to listen to your client, surely.
Yeah, you don't talk about baby poo. Not in Wolford East.
But then if it's a way of getting the job, then you do talk about baby poo.
It's not the Vic.
Yeah, it's not common like the Vic. This is Wolford East.
But yeah, I suppose, because they were bonding over the fact they both have kids and Ruby doesn't.
Yeah, and also the way that the businesswoman is successful, and she doesn't want to talk about the hardship. She wants to talk about the success. And Lola's like, oh yeah, I can totally understand that. Me being a successful young mum. Losing my boyfriend, being manipulated by another man, success. This
not
is what
making
it looks
any
like.
sense why I'm back on the show.
No.
Yeah, I don't have any time for Lola. She then gets upset because Ruby's asking her to do some work. So Billy gives her a bit of cake and gives her a bit of advice about to get over it, be better than her.
Yeah, rise above it.
Yeah.
Rise above it.
She says, yeah, I'm better at her job anyway. And it's like, no, you're not Lola. And then, she then goes to Ruby's flat, but Ruby's not there.
Well, she's stuffing envelopes.
So why is she doing it in Ruby's flat? It's just really weird.
Because Ruby doesn't have an office.
Well, where's Ruby?
Looking at more clients, I don't know.
It's really odd. And that's when she overhears the Adam and Jack stuff. But not like
it. None of it makes any sense. Like I say, how Ruby's got this disposable... I suppose she is Johnny Allen's daughter, so she might have a bit of money put aside.
It's been quite a long time. She's quite useless with her money. She spends it on clothes.
Ruby Slipper Productions.
Yeah.
If I had a PA and I wanted to give her a job that might be useful, I would try to build up your presence on social media again. Try to get rid of this stigma.
Oh, she needs to hire Lauren Branning for that then, not Lola Pierce.
No, we don't need to bring back Lauren. Oh my god, can you imagine it? It'd be like the Three Witches of Eastwick.
That'd be good. There'll be a storyline where Lauren and Lola are going against each other to try and get the Ruby's PA job.
A cat fight over a cauldron in the middle of the square
Whitney
garden.
Comes in as well because she likes to.
She can get her claws out, can't she, like a cat?
But yeah, Lola just has no place. So I am hoping there's going to be a Lola murder soon.
You're really gunning for this Lola murder, aren't you?
No need for her. They're making her out to be this really nice girl as well, so that it's going to be heartbreaking when she dies.
But she's giving Billy a bit of a reason to be about too. It's
Yeah,
like
I don't
other than
want
just
that
yeah, but other than just this Adam and Honey story, it's like it was quite nice the scene with them in the cafe. I must say, it was nice to see Billy in a kind of family way rather than a conniving.
I'm over Billy, I'm afraid.
Well, I've been
over Billy for a long time.
I've been over Billy for a long time too, but I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Perry is.
Yeah, I know. He's one of them, isn't he? That can't seem to go.
Ooh,
He can't.
There'll
Steve
be
McFadden fights against it if it ever happens.
Mitchell's.
It's happened in the
together.
past.
Stick together.
So the final storyline this week is again, kind of feels forced, this feud between Kim and Chantelle, because she's bought her house and Kim's angry for some reason.
Yeah, well, I think it's because Chantelle misstepped by saying that the decor from last week, and Kim still can't get over that.
It's a bit ridiculous.
It's a bit silly, a bit petty, but also their relationship has become more strained because Kim felt like she was doing a good job on Rainey. All those screams was a good thing.
Exactly.
And
what Chantelle did actually was help her, probably.
Yeah, well, helped the business. And which I was a bit disappointed that Denise didn't step in and say, look, Kim, you're being a prat.
Yeah.
But she took the neutral ground and said, right, you two, either you both sort it out or you're both fired. And if I was Chantelle, I'd be like, excuse me.
You need me a lot more than I need you.
Very much.
Like, Chantelle's doing them a huge favour. She's working there full time.
Yeah.
She's the only stylist. She barely knows them. And she's going in giving a free blow dry to Rainey to try and make the client happy.
Yeah. So Chantelle did nothing wrong. And yet Kim's sisters doing it for themselves. Kim and Denise are just, sticking together. It's like, okay, but sometimes see the wood amongst the trees. Know that perhaps Kim was doing a lot wrong. Last week you were seeing it. Why in this instance are you taking Kim's
This salon
back?
is doomed. It's just awful.
If
I was Chantelle, I'd get out of there quick.
I would just go back to doing the mobile hairdressing. She was obviously making good money from it, and with hours that she liked. And she doesn't need to really work full time because, well, other than the social aspect, because of Gray. Talking of Gray.
Yes, well, we learned quite a bit about Chantelle actually this week, with indirectly not involving her, but the way where she was getting quite upset. Like, she seems to be quite, I don't know what the word is, like, she's quite timid, isn't she? Like, she was getting quite upset that Kim was talking to her like this, and she told that to Gray, and he said, oh, well, you don't need it. If it makes you feel better, just quit and do this or do that. So I don't know if she's, because all the tailors, they're quite rough and ready, aren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's different and she's more of like a timid, insular person. They're kind of giving that effect too, because Gray's sort of quick to say, oh, if you don't like how she's talking to her, just leave. You don't need to put this on yourself. You don't need this to upset you all the time.
I can look after us all. I can look after the family. I mean, that attitude that she has, the much more relaxed, laid back, doesn't really want the confrontation. It's obviously done her well, because a lot of the other Taylor family have kind of found themselves out to be a bit in difficult situations, not, very wealthy and having to, live off other people, while she's found her feet, which is a bone of contention with Karen this week.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
the other scene where you learn a bit more about those two, because Karen says to Mitch she feels like Chantelle's forgotten where she came from.
Yeah,
and she like looks at her nose down at Karen, and she wasn't there. They've been on the square since 2017, and they've had loads of money issues and bailiffs. And she brings that up, and she says she was never there to help, or she never offered to help. So yeah, there's that.
And now she's got a new washing machine,
dynamic.
and she won't use the laundrette, so she won't see me as often as I'd like. I can get the feelings though. You always have someone in the family that you're jealous of, don't you? Someone who kind of spreads.
Oh, it must be me. I'm the one that everyone's jealous of.
Of course it is.
It all makes sense now.
Yeah, it does perfectly.
So that's interesting with Chantelle. I think it's interesting to know a bit more, because I don't want Gray to be this, I'm an abusive, controlling husband.
I don't think he is. I actually think it's the opposite. I think he's very caring to Chantelle and wants the best for her. Maybe too caring, and this might be their undoing eventually, because maybe Chantelle will want to...
Oh, you're not breaking them up already, are you?
I'm just saying this is a possible way or route that they could have a breakup somewhere. I don't know. But Chantelle is also very keen for Mitch and Gray to be very friendly to one another, because you can see that...
Even though she's not really had a relationship with Mitch, so...
But because she's got this opportunity now, she wants it to be, like, encompassing everyone.
She also wants to be happy, doesn't she, I think?
Which is a lovely charm. It's like no one has that on EastEnders. Everyone's always up against each other and out for themselves. And
will we ever see Chantelle slap someone and say, you bitch? That's the question.
That's true.
I think it's in her.
I don't either. Which is a bit of a problem on this show because you need the strong characters, and so it's nice to see Chantelle as this.
Yeah, I really like Chantelle.
Yeah, but
she's very human.
Very human. Well, the whole family are. You said it last week. It's nice to have a bit of normality.
And the way that Karen said, "Oh, she looks her nose down at everyone," but like she seems the most like down to earth person. So
yeah,
it's a bit. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the way that she's being played by the actress. Maybe like she's just very.
I mean, she is.
She goes across as very calm and.
They
like
remind
a
me
natural person.
Like they remind me a bit of like the now EastEnd, if that makes any sense, where there's a lot of young, rich,
modern yuppies.
Yeah, modern yuppies. That's a good term. And so they're coming into the square, and it's the first kind of look of us having that with this. And so again, maybe with the more traditional EastEnd people, they're a bit like, oh, I don't like them moving into these parts. Yes, Pete Bill.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, they're just like a young. Successful, wealthy-ish,
and
happy.
And if you're going into it, which
couple.
East London is seen as a bit more of an affluent area, but this part of East London obviously is seen as not quite so affluent.
High murder rate in
very dangerous street, isn't it? Like the Bridge Street, like the most hit and runs in any other place in the UK. They actually did a survey,
probably by the same family members, though. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't it? The butchers, they love it. They're knocking everyone down left. It's like a pinball machine down that street.
Well, I dread the day where Tiff learns to drive.
Oh no, Louise isn't doing much good, is she? Although I wonder if she's going to carry on her driving lessons with Keanu.
I think Ben needs to take over with his 3-point turns he was doing.
That was a poor 3-point turn.
He can teach
in an emergency. It was like it reminded me of that scene from Austin Powers when he's stuck in that corridor.
Yeah, he's trying to turn around. The second half of this storyline was the young carer storyline with Bailey and Keegan, because her mum is having more bad days than good, and Bailey's sort of struggling, and Keegan sort of taking it upon himself to speak to Bailey and let her know kind of the truth about what's going on. This
goes on the strength of my. I reckon he's going to become a bit of a social worker kind of character, and I'd like that because he really has a touch with looking after Bailey, and he
speaking to Dina as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Dina says to him, that there's not many days where I'm, not faking it around Bailey, and I'm having to put on a smile for her. And Bailey knows that her mum is slowly deteriorating.
She's probably just in denial.
She's in denial, and she's taking time off school. She's skipping, meals so she can look after her mum, paying attention all the time. She's tired. And Keegan's like, what? You've got a family, and we all love you. You've got blood, and we're going to look after you now, and I promise you, I will look after you. It's a really touching scene with Keegan and Bailey.
It was. It's a really good time as well because they're voting for the best actors out at the moment, and he's having real good pieces of work, to remind everyone how good he was, because he was great during the Shaquille storyline as well.
Really good story.
But yeah, he's very good. They need to keep hold of him. Zach Morris.
Zach Morris.
A name.
I know. It's just it's a mad name to have, isn't it? Like the references we made to Saved by the Bell already, and there's actually an actor called Zach Morris on there.
Yeah, but they have to keep him because he's like one to watch, I think.
Oh, big time.
Real
big
in
time.
A few years on EastEnders.
I mean, he's got a great career coming up on EastEnders. I think outside in theatre, I really do. I think he's got a real career coming ahead.
No. But you don't want them off the square. Don't give him ideas.
In the scope of television and film, I think he could do. I think I love him. I really do. I think he's a great actor.
He's very good.
He can play angry and sad, and he's got all the emotions. He's like one of those photo cards with all the different emotions in black and white. He's just fantastic, and I have a lot of time of watching him on screen. I'd love to see a powerhouse of Gene and Keegan. That'd be a fantastic.
Keegan.
How could they be squeezed together somehow?
Oh, if they squeeze Lola and Jay and Ruby together, they can squeeze Gene.
Well, no, that makes sense though, doesn't it? Because Lola has a past with Jay, and Jay's got a past with Ruby.
It didn't make sense when I watched it earlier. So there you go. That's our roundup of this week. And we've just got a little bit of gossip to go through now. So
we really have, yes.
Let's get chattering.
Let's do it.
You know me, I ain't one to gossip.
So it's, that time of the show where we find out who's won the week, and we read out some of your comments and views from the social medias. But before we do any of that, Ben has got his big piece of paper in front of him. He's looking so proud of himself. Cock of the walk he is.
Don't expect too much.
And Ben's going to tell us who's won previous weeks in previous years on the square, and also some birthdays and deaths. What a happy time to be alive.
Well, on EastEnders, end of April, I don't think much happens. Because no one's born, no one has died. apart from one character. And this is a very strange one. I don't know what date we're on EastEnders at the moment, because they stayed on Good Friday for quite a long time. So we might not be quite there yet, but 23rd of April, which was quite a few days ago.
Yeah.
Keanu was born 1999.
Was he? 1999? Oh my.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
Oh God, so do I.
So yeah, they kind of missed his birthday. Has Louise forgot her boyfriend's birthday or what? Or have they not reached the 23rd yet? Is that going to happen over this weekend where we're going to miss it?
Well, he didn't have a very happy birthday, did he?
No.
Well, he did, because it was after.
Oh yeah, maybe that was his birthday.
Hang on, when was Good Friday? Was the 19th. So yeah. Well, no, it's the 19th, so it was just before his birthday. But I'm sure he's having lots of birthday wishes now. Wink, wink. That makes me feel so old. I was at a checkout. And it said, it's one of those self-checkouts, and it said, if you're IDing someone, they need to be born in 2001 to be served alcohol. 2001.
That's after Robbie Williams released Millennium.
It is.
That wasn't that long ago, was it? So yeah, that's the only birthday, and there's no death. No one died at the end of April, so obviously it's a bit of a quiet year.
That's good. That's nice. Well, one person came back to life over April. That was Jesus.
I thought you were going to say Kathy.
Yeah, Kathy, of course. Jesus, Kathy.
And the episode I did for this time last year isn't this time last year at all, because it was in September, the 29th of September. The whole week was a dedicated week where they filmed Out of the Square. Pauline Fowler was on it again. She likes doing her out of Wolford episodes, doesn't she?
Yeah, nice little holiday for them all, isn't it? A little excursion.
And out of respect for Maggie, Aunt Maggie.
Yes, Aunt Maggie, who died we had a funeral this week.
Yeah, just half a line from Stacey. It's all they gave her.
Throwaway.
How rude. So I thought, let's give her the respect she needs. So I watched her whole week of episodes.
Wow. Okay. So what happened?
I'm not really sure what happened. I've looked into it, and apparently it's one of the most disliked storylines in EastEnders past.
Oh dear.
And people are really surprised that they referenced that, but they won't reference Redwater.
Well, they might do. They might do in
30 years.
30 years, yeah. Martin will be like, "I've just gone to a funeral."
Yeah,
down in
that old woman from Redwater.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was 29th of September 1997, and it was Lou Bill had a secret child that she gave up with Albert.
Yes.
Her lovely Albert.
But it's before they were married.
Yes, and back then that's no. So she had to have her adopted, and this is the story of where Pauline, Martin, Ian, Mark, they go to Ireland to meet
all the big hitters
Yeah,
in the
they're all
90s.
there.
Yeah, cool.
They're all there to meet their sort of estranged family, and it's basically like an Irish EastEnders. They'd have loads of characters, and the family dynamics is actually insane. Like one of the sentences, I was like skipping through some of it because I couldn't cope. There was a lot going on. One of the sentences was from Pauline's sister's granddaughter, and she said, "Oh, Connor's come in." And Mark was like, "Oh, your brother?" She's like, "Yeah, he's also my dad." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
This is a very hectic 4 episodes I've just watched. But yeah, lots of things were going on. There's a drunk granddad who was also a dad of someone, and there's an uncle and sisters, and
it seems a bit disrespectful toward the Irish, to be fair.
But yeah, Maggie was there. She's very nice. She was very downtrodden. She was very similar to Pauline, and they were discussing Lou and what Lou was like, and Pauline said, "Oh, you remind me of someone. I don't know who." And Maggie went, "Oh, I don't know either." And she put her hand on her head, and you know how all the Bill women,
they cover their mouths.
They do that thing with all their fingernails, and they look worried.
Yeah,
they both did it at like the same time, so like their sisters and stuff. And no, it's very nice, very nice.
Bit of filler, bit of fun.
Martin seemed to be attracted. I think it was to his cousin, but I'm not sure.
I mean, we know that in the Bills, that's not a problem, really.
And he wanted to stay there with her, but Pauline said, "No, get in the cab, shut up." And he said, "I'll phone you and write you every day."
Aww.
So maybe he's he's over there now.
Oh, maybe that's the one he's bringing back.
His cousin second wife, Stacey. We're going to do a new storyline where I'm going to have 2 wives.
What's the religion where you can have lots of wives? Is it the Mormons?
I can't remember what it is.
I'm not sure.
It's called. They're doing it on Hollyoaks.
Oh, are they? Of course they are. Every time I say something really outlandish and stupid, what's that story when like that dragon turned into a cat? Oh yeah, they're doing that on Hollyoaks.
They've already done that on Hollyoaks 2 years ago. So yeah, maybe Martin's going to rekindle his love for her. He'll come back, and that's how they write Stacey out for a maternity leave.
All right. Okay. That's excellent.
But yeah, I just wanted to give the respect to Maggie.
Maggie deserved respect. Maggie, she deserved the respect because they built her up. Just
4 episodes.
Yeah, 4 episodes.
Never seen again.
What, 15 years later?
Yeah.
No, 25 years later?
Yeah. The last time they mentioned her was 2015 when she sent some flowers to Lucy Bill's funeral.
Oh, right.
Because Lucy was on holiday with them in Ireland too, so she did meet Lucy.
Oh, good.
So, you know,
Before her demise.
She had love in her heart, Maggie.
I liked Maggie. The brief...
Yeah, she stayed out of all the riff-raff of Walford.
But
So,
she was
yeah.
invited, though, wasn't she, to come to Walford? But she never
she didn't.
took up the invitation. No, of course not.
Oh no.
Right, so that's... It was that this week, though? Was that...
Oh no.
No,
it was
okay.
It was September.
All right, well, that's who won the week in
But I
September.
wanted to pay respect to Maggie.
Okay, sorry. All respect to Maggie.
Aunt Maggie.
We're gonna do a book of condolences in our house. If you want to come visit and sign it, you're more than welcome to.
Even though I watched the episode, I have no idea what's going on for the whole time. But I saw Maggie and Pauline. So
That's
it's
the
fine.
main thing. So, who won the week this week? Let's go
My
through
cousin's
the
my
stories.
dad.
Right, the stories we asked you to vote for this week was Jean Seeks Sean,
Oh.
Keanu Saves the Day,
Mm.
Sharon's Filthy Looks, Stuart's Shock Treatment, Taylor's Stuck on Glue.
Oh, we didn't even mention that stupid thing.
Oh yeah,
I made a big deal about it on Twitter. It
Yeah.
was funny.
but
I thought it
basically
was funny.
some super glue got stuck to a bag on a chair. There you go, that's the story. And Janet's yellow streak when she painted Adam.
Oh.
There was one added, Phil Mitchell. Someone wanted to add Phil Mitchell story as well.
That's understandable.
So
Good week for him.
Yeah, I agree. So you could have voted on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And who do you think came last?
Last?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, God. I was about to say, my head was ready for first.
Okay, first and last then. Give me the first and the
First till
last.
last?
Yeah,
Oh.
that sounds like a good feature.
First, probably Jean, because of Sean. Sean's little
Mhm.
smile.
Right, okay.
It's first in my eyes. Last, Bex, because no one ever likes Bex. Or Phil, because he was
What,
added.
Bex is the Stuart story.
Yeah, the Bex,
Stuart's shock treatment.
whatever, yeah.
You're right. Stuart was last, but Jean wasn't first.
Oh.
So Stuart came 6th with 7%. 5th was Taylor Stuck on Glue. So the glue storyline beat.
Yeah, but that might be down to Keegan. He might have pumped up the votes a little bit.
Maybe 9% of the vote. 4th was Janet's yellow streak, got 10%. Third place was Jean Seeks Sean with 18%. Third.
Okay.
Second was Sharon's Filthy Looks with 23%. So Keanu Saving the Day was first place. Everyone really enjoyed that
Okay.
story.
And Sharon Looking came second. So
Well, it's her Filthy
quite the
Looks, though.
achievement.
I mean, you should make you're getting good at these videos. You should make a video of like Sharon throwing lots of filthy looks throughout the week. Just lots of filthy looks being thrown everywhere. Shade.
My viral videos, thanks to Rita.
I mean, if you want to see these videos, you can go to our Facebook group or our Twitter because we post them on there. And
Or
there's been...
Rita's Twitter page. The one who plays Roxy.
Yes,
Can't remember
yes.
her surname at the moment.
Yes.
I keep trying to call her Rita Ora, but that's not her. Rita Simmons.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, she retweeted.
She bumped up those views a bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah, so check them out. A few comments. I won't read them all out, but again, guys, thank you for throwing these comments forward. I've got loads. I've got 2 pages worth here. I'll read out a few. So if I don't read yours out, I'm really sorry.
Next time.
Next time, absolutely. At Tiffany_and_Evie said on Instagram they should bring back Evie in a few years. That seems a bit obvious. At Michael Reed 1881 also said on his...
Why a few years?
I guess she's gone to prison. I guess because she might
Why can't they bring Evie back now?
Well, she's in the police now, isn't she? She's giving evidence. She might be in hiding. She might be in witness
On
protection.
Hollyoaks, the woman
Right.
who died, she came back like 2 weeks later.
They have brought someone back from the dead, so Evie might come back next week. Who
That's true.
knows? At Michael Reed 1881 said, "Brilliant. It's gone better with Sean being back."
What, for like 30 seconds?
Well, I mean, it's the beginning, isn't
Oh,
it?
right.
So the build-up. You know,
They
Sean.
get too attached, she's off again next week.
Yeah, but the next week is Sean week.
Mm.
Talking of weeks, someone said at actual Mina, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, said Mitchell week, huh, more like Mitchell Day. Yeah, take that.
Good Friday. Mitchell Day. I
No,
can't make a
I
pun.
think it's because the trailer was saying that it was going to be a whole week of Mitchells, like the big kidnap scene.
Oh,
I mean, the
awesome.
kidnap I thought was going to be a week worth, and they
And I was
did it in a
prepared to
day.
not see Louise for weeks.
So was I. I thought they were going to have her sent away, give her a bit of a rest.
We all did.
But then I knew that wasn't going to happen when Keanu got stuck in there with her, and then I thought, there we go. On Twitter, at April21315848, also known as the Texan Wildflower, said Louise really stepped up and helped Keanu. She finally thought of someone else beside herself. Poor Keanu is like a lovesick dummy.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. At Irish Terrence STL said, Kathy's constant drinking is becoming a concern. We said
Yes,
that
it
too. It certainly is. By the way, I may have cut these down a little bit for time.
I was going to say, is that all he said?
No, he did say other things, but I've
I
cherry
like his
picked.
comment.
I've cherry picked. Well, he does say something about Adam. Would you like to hear that?
Yes, I do. He does one every week.
Okay.
He's the one. I base my podcast around his comment.
Oh, do you? Okay.
No, I
Lucky you are. I mean, he gave us a recommendation for a podcast as well, Run Pod, which I strongly recommend you listen to because they interview
Natalie
Cassidy and Jake
and
Wood,
Max. Yeah.
which I will get to in a minute about the charity run, the charity run, the London Marathon that they'll be doing, which you probably might be watching right now while you're listening. Irish Terrence also said, Adam's getting a bit silly. I would prefer Adam was a very serious and dark rather than slapstick.
Oh.
Yes. And Chris Scott said on Facebook, loving Kush being subtle with his dilemmas again. And Kim Richardson said, why did Stacey buy a lettuce in the Minute Mart when her husband owns a fruit and vegetable? Good question, Kim. That should be...
Yeah. Well, Martin's off.
Yeah,
So
but it's
she's
still open. Shrimpy's probably running it for him. Well, Kathy's probably running the empire. So,
Poor Kath.
as I mentioned earlier on the podcast, we've had a few comments also about the great Ben Mitchell debate we had last week.
Oh, what have people said?
Well, on Facebook, Rob Innes said, replacing an actor to basically create a new version is just lazy.
That's what I said. I agree.
You agree? Cheryl D said, I find myself feeling annoyed when I see him on screen. Oh dear.
That could be a good thing, though. Like, they don't want you to...
Well, yeah, you want to be...
A bit like Stuart last year. Everyone kept moaning how they hated him. But
Yeah,
you
but
kind
that was a
of-
good thing,
yeah.
yeah. And now everyone's moaning that they're softening him, so...
We're never happy. That's why we're here.
That's right, that's why we've got the podcast. On Twitter, at TamTrainor96 said, I don't like the new Ben. Not the character. I do like Hard Ben, but... Sorry,
Same.
as do we all. But not keen on the actor who plays him. See, I quite like the actor.
Oh, yeah, Max is all right.
Yeah.
Max Bowden.
Why? At Holly Ender Soz FA on Twitter said, I'm willing to give Max Bowden a grace period of 3 months. In my view, Harry Reid was getting stale for the role.
That's what we did say about Ikra and Habiba. They have 3 months.
Yes.
They're running out of time.
Oh, they are. Next month is the last one. They've done nothing. And this actually leads quite nicely because the same Twitter user has posed a question, Ben.
Oh, gosh.
When will Ben go looking for love? And do you think he will travel to Manchester and find Johnny?
Well, I'm not sure I'm ready to go out looking for... Oh, sorry.
You
You meant Ben Mitchell.
can go off.
What's he doing? Read that again. 'Cause I was too busy trying to make my joke in my head that I forgot to listen. Manchester.
I shouldn't say she or he, I don't want to propose an agenda on someone, said that they wondered whether Ben would be looking for love soon. Now the storyline with the whole Phil trying to, coax him
Yes.
into money. Do you reckon it'll be with
There
Johnny?
is a... No. God, no.
Yeah, but they might recast Johnny.
No, they won't. Johnny loves his teacher.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's probably off of him.
I loved him!
Yes, there will be a relationship very soon. I know they keep teasing it, so there
Mm.
definitely is one. But I imagine he'll be a bit more reckless to begin with, as in sleeping around because he's angry.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
That's a good answer. Thank you very much. And thank you again to everyone for their comments and their questions. You can send them to us on the usual at Twitter, at EastEnders Week, on Instagram, at EastEnders Weekly Podcast, on our Facebook group. Just search EastEnders Weekly Podcast and click join, or you can email us eastendersweekly@gmail.com. One last thing, there is the London Marathon this Sunday, which is the day we release the podcast, and a few cast members are doing the London Marathon for dementia charities. They're calling themselves Barbara's Revolutionaries, which is for Barbara Windsor.
Yeah. Rainy's there.
Rainey's there, Jake Wood,
Tracy, the barmaid.
Tracy's doing it.
Sonia.
Barbara's
She's
husband is doing
Lost,
it.
yeah, she's off 3 stone doing it.
Yeah.
Sonia.
Good old Sonia.
Yeah.
She's good.
I thought Adam Widget was meant to be doing it, but
He
I've not
is doing
seen...
it.
Oh, he is doing it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
I've not seen any photos.
Well, maybe he's doing it secretly in his own
He
private
did it
land.
last year, didn't he?
What, the
No,
London
2
Marathon?
years ago he did.
But
He
he
did
lost
it
it-
for his son. That's when he lost weight for the diabetes storyline.
Ah,
That's why
right.
they wrote it in.
Right. Okay, the reason I'm mentioning it though is because obviously they're raising money for dementia charities and they want to raise as much money as they can. And so we're going to give you the website. So if you did fancy just throwing a few pounds toward their way, that'd be pretty cool.
Mm.
So,
They've reached their target now.
but that doesn't mean they don't want
No.
more money.
And Barbara Windsor's done a really sweet video, so you should watch it.
Oh, right. Is that on
It's on the Twitter of their page, yeah.
the Barbara's Revolutionaries?
Mm.
Okay, so look for that on Twitter. If you go to uk.virginmoneygiving.com/Barbara's Revolutionaries, you can then donate as little as much as you like. And as I say, it's a great cause, dementia charities, and they can hopefully find a cure one day and get it sorted. On the podcast I was telling you about, they said that if they had enough money for research, they could find a cure within like the next 4 or 5 years. So it's something that they can
And even if you can't
use.
donate, just retweet it or share it.
Perfect, absolutely.
Whatever.
Share with your friends. Tell your friends all about that site as well. I'll say it one more time. uk.virginmoneygiving.com/Barbara's Revolutionaries. Lovely. So thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. As always, we enjoyed making it for you guys.
Yes, we did. And get in contact with us, join our groups and things, and get into the discussion.
Right, Ben. I really want a coffee now. So can you go downstairs and boil me up a black coffee?
Yeah, of course, I'll get it boiling hot for you.
Thank you.
Here you go.
Thank you. Oh, it's too hot, Ben. Put a block of ice in it.